Professor Howard Jones believes that Greta Thunberg has inspired school children and that climate change is something they feel passionately about, despite being underrepresented in the national curriculum. He believes that with COP26 being hosted in Glasgow this year, in November, this is an ideal time to reflect on how we are preparing young people for the defining issue of today. Professor Ken Muir, former Chief Executive of the General Teaching Council for Scotland, will lead the work towards a new organisation to replace the Scottish Qualifications Authority. The Scottish Education Secretary, Shirley Ann Somerville, is to establish a Children's and Young People's Education Council to ensure that the voices of those most affected by any changes in education are always heard loudly and clearly. Ms Somerville has told MSPs that she wanted to be in a position to confirm central planning assumptions for the awarding of qualifications in 2022 for the start of the school term in August. This has been your daily education news briefing.
Introducing Amanda Davey. Amanda is one of the first specialist teacher assessors for dyscalculia in the UK and offers dyscalculia tutoring and bespoke training for schools. With 26 years of teaching and tutoring experience in the UK, Amanda offers specialist online tuition focused on building confidence and developing skills. Amanda also offers online and face-to-face training on dyscalculia for educators, informing practitioners as to how to identify children that may have dyscalculia and how to support them in class. Find out more about Amanda and what she can offer you at www.amanda-davey-dyscalculia.co.uk. Creative Resources, made for teachers by teachers. At Creative Resources, we've been rethinking what a classroom can be. We've created a huge range of more than 2,500 original and exciting resources that span across more than 15 different subject areas. Whether you're looking for primary or secondary level resources, careers options, PSHE, arts or humanities, Creative Resources have the resources for you. We offer full curriculum packages and unique, challenging escape rooms themed on topics such as Shakespeare, Tudors, and fractions. We have quizzes, task cards, Tarsia puzzles, and lots more. Better still, more than 100 resources can be accessed for free. Just visit our website, www.cre8tiveresources.com. You can get 10% off any order you make on our website by using the discount code TT Radio. Creative Resources, made for teachers by teachers. Live from Liverpool, this is The Morning Break with Tom Rogers on Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello everybody and welcome back to The Morning Break. Thank you very much, Gail, for the news this morning. And also, if you're interested in advertising with Teachers Talk Radio, then get over onto our website, ttradio.org, and check out what we have on offer. I'm joined this morning by John Young. We're discussing all things imposter syndrome and all things feeling guilty.
Live from Liverpool, this is The Morning Break with Tom Rogers on Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live on the Podbean app or desktop player. Just head over to www.podbean.com/LSW/TT Radio or search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TT Radio.
Good morning, everybody, again. And John, I think you should be back with me now.
Yeah, I am. I was waiting for the sports news and the great New Zealand cricket victory this morning, but
who have you beat? Who have New Zealand beat?
We've beaten India for the World Championship.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
Test cricket, our 5 million versus their 1 billion.
Decent. That is a decent result. I didn't realise that New Zealand had won. Right. Well, yeah, sorry about lack of sports news, everybody. We'll have to have a look at that. But we're halfway through reading this Educational Imposters blog from Rachel Ball. Really enjoying reading this blog. I think she's made some fantastic points throughout it. But we're going to go through the kind of 21 to 40 now, John. Are you ready?
Yep, yeah, I am.
All right, here we go. 21. I never work on a Sunday evening.
Good
22, but check Twitter while pushing my daughter on the swing this weekend.
Yeah.
That's something to feel guilty about? Probably.
No, yeah.
Are you addicted to your phone, John?
Yes, unfortunately.
Number 23. Sometimes I forget to say what questions do you have rather than any questions.
I don't think that matters that much.
I don't either. 24. I often get tongue-tied and wish I was more articulate.
Part of the human condition, I think.
Yeah. 25. This is great, John. Like, we can fire through these. You're just giving like one word like answers to these now. We're getting good at this. 25. Yeah. Sometimes I get so passionate I forget to see other points of view.
I can live with that. Very reflective of my life.
Yeah, I'm like that. I just sometimes especially in the past, I've gone into tunnel vision. Like, I believe in this so much, like that I'm just fixated on it and I can't see outside of it. And it's not, it's not done out of maliciousness. It's done out of just passion and intensity. Just my personality.
Yeah, we want our schools filled with passionate people.
Yeah, exactly. And, sometimes that passion can spill over or it can be quite narrow, but I'd rather that than nothing there. Do you know what I mean? It's just looking at the strengths and weaknesses, I guess. 26, my husband says I'm a different person during the holidays. This is a pertinent one because I think for a lot of teachers, once you hit a holiday and then you've had maybe, I don't know, so it can vary, but it can vary from anything between like 2 days and maybe a week. By that point, you're actually into maybe normal humanity again, like where you're not some kind of stressed, pent up, semi-aggressive like model of yourself. And you are more relaxed and you become the version of yourself that maybe you were before you entered teaching. That's a very dim view of teaching, but you get my point.
I do, and interesting in the moment, my oldest daughter's just left being principal of a small school, which is a very stressful thing, and she's moved into the Ministry of Education. And I'm asking her about her life changes. What people tell us is that when people leave teaching, you feel the same on a Friday night as you'd feel on a Tuesday night, and and when our non-teaching friends say, "Oh, you have so many holidays," well, if we didn't have so many holidays, we'd die. It's just like that. But that we do need our holidays and to get into that deep sort of relaxation away from school, and that's important. And it's important that your partners actually understand the cycles of teaching.
Absolutely, and that's why EduDate exists, John, my teacher dating site. But certainly I think that there is that element of lack of understanding within society about the way in which teaching infests your mind. And I think you made that point really well in terms of a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. Okay, I finish work, right? I finish work, and Monday night I do exactly the same as I would do on the other time that I've got off, right? Okay, you might be a bit more tired, but it's not consumed you. You're not constantly thinking about the next thing that you need to do or what you are off. You finished until the following morning at 9 o'clock, right? And that's just it. And teaching's never been like that for me. I've tried to make it like that. And I think you can make it more like that if you really try, but I don't think you can ever get to the point where it's completely like that.
And the last week before school starts, we call it the Christmas holidays, but in the summer holidays for you guys. And I mean, I think all of us are a mess. We may as well be at school preparing because if we're not, we're actually at home thinking we should, and you just that week before it all starts, you start turning to jelly a bit, and this is the challenges of our job, and I suppose for the Rachels of this world, it's the message that all of us feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. 27. I desperately want school culture to change more quickly than it does. And this is an interesting one for you, John, in terms of your journey in your school now, in terms of you've been there, quite a while. You've said there's really challenging behaviours. Do you feel you've made any progress in different areas since you've been there? Because I know how difficult that can be in a school of that context.
I think we have, and I'm a great fan of Tom Bennett's, and I think running the room, I think should be compulsory for every.
It's really good.
And for it's working all the time about the behaviour. It's behaviours about being on every day, and we've worked for a long time on this. Just talking about how we do it. What actions teachers take, teacher behaviour, those sorts of things, and that's really important. I think in one aspect, that's school culture we have changed. But I'm looking at it from a leader's point of view, and it's always a lot different when you're looking at it from the people who are doing the slog day to day in the classroom. So, yeah.
28's an interesting one, and I know that Rachel is an assistant head teacher, so she is in a senior role in a school. But she says 28. I miss bus duty, and you know what? I kind of get that one because again, going back in my career, there's been times where I've missed things and I felt really bad about it. And looking back now, I'm like, yeah, that really didn't matter. You were like hammering the work at that time. You were out on your feet, or you just forgot, and it doesn't really matter. But I think when you're in the moment there and you miss something like a bus duty, it can feel like really important. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, totally. And I'm sort of, we're down another leader, and I'm having to pick up more duties, and I forget them. And it's, when you're the principal and visible in public, you feel terrible about it. In the sum total of your life, it probably didn't matter that much. And it's, I suppose my big message to all of us, especially Rachel, is we've got to first forgive ourselves for not being perfect. We're imperfect beings. So, yeah.
Because I thought that about, again, it can be any aspect. It could be marking. It could be whatever the element is, right? You cannot be great at everything. And the problem with teaching is there's like 100 things that 1,000 things that you want to be good at or you need to be good at. You just can't be. So the moment you get to a point where you're like, you know what? On that particular one, I'm probably going to fail at times. And that's fine. Because I'm not a Superman. I can't do all of these things at 100% perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes like you've got to drop the ball on something. Because if you don't, you're just going to burn out and you're going to be crushed at some point. You're going to have a breakdown. Yeah. So at some point, my real kind of and this didn't used to be the case for me. I felt like I had to keep everything juggling all the time. And it burnt me out. But now I'm much more like, you know what? If I drop the ball on that, which I probably will, I'm not gonna beat myself up on it. Like they can beat me up on it if they want to, if whoever that is, or for whatever reason. But I'm not gonna beat myself up because there's other areas where I'm strong and there's other areas where I'm doing well.
Yeah, and for us, Tom, in our context, we all teach and live together in a very small community of non-Aboriginal people. So, it's you work with people and you socialise with them. You can't, in some ways, you can't literally escape for about 5 months of the year. And so this message of, look, we're all imperfect. We've got to forgive each other for not being perfect, and learn to relax and take things. And that's the same for any school. It's just in our context, it's a wee bit more extreme,
Yeah, definitely. We're up to number 29. I don't see my friends enough. And number 30, but I hate talking on the phone. I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
But I don't hate talking on the phone. Like, I can talk for England, so number 30 doesn't apply to me. But I don't see my friends enough, definitely. But the pandemic's pretty much destroyed that anyway. I mean, do you have chance to kind of have a social life, John, outside of your job?
I do, but one of the hardest things for me is I'm not here with. There's not many men of my own age and culture that I can relate to. We follow different sports from the Australians, those sorts of things. So it's important to unwind, but it's you do your best.
Your thing is cricket, and their thing is Aussie rules football.
Oh no, my thing's rugby union. Cricket's I only follow when New Zealand's doing well.
Yeah, you're like a glory hunter fan for cricket.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so 31. Sometimes I rush jobs and make mistakes I wouldn't have made if I'd been more careful.
Yeah, it's an extremely demanding job, and I think also that goes back to the major theme, the mantra here is you just got to forgive yourself for not being perfect. Make your best attempt and carry on.
Definitely. 32. I find holidays hard with no sense of purpose and still set myself jobs on a tick list. You know what? Like, sometimes that is weird, that one, because I mean, I teach 3 days now, so it's slightly different. But when I was full time, which obviously I was for the whole of my career up until like 6 months ago, like, it is weird when you come out of that level of intensity into nothing, right, over a holiday, like, for example, a summer holiday. And I found it quite easy to get depressed. Like, I would because the thing is, you're exhausted anyway, and then you strip away all routine and all kind of like sense of purpose or sense of like that intensity, and you feel a bit lost sometimes. I don't know whether you felt that sometimes in holiday periods or not.
I think Rachel's done us a real service by sharing that one, because that's a big one for me. And I used to think, one, I must be a very weird person. And two, my kids say, what is this man going to do in retirement? Because he can't even do holidays. So it's an issue, but it's one that I think a lot of us share, and it's certainly resonated with me. And like I was saying at the start to Rachel, well, a lot of us all feel like that, but I didn't know other people actually felt like that, because that's a very personal one to me.
Yeah, I think they do, because I felt like that. I have. I think it depends on the context you're working in. It depends on, but certainly that element of going from maximum intensity to zero and then feeling a bit lost, I think is something that happens to teachers 100%. Number 33. I went back to work full time when my babies were only 7 months old. So again, it's a family one. I think we've touched on that really, but it's difficult, isn't it? It's a challenge. 34. The thought of speaking at some virtual conferences this month makes me feel a bit sick. Well, I hope it doesn't make her feel too sick, because she's speaking at TM Leadership Icons on Saturday. So, Rachel, if you're feeling sick about it, give me a shout. But it's. I get that. I mean, do you feel nerves, John? Like, speaking to staff still?
No. Look, I have many issues, but not suffering from want of an audience has never been something I've been accused of, actually.
Yeah. Okay, that's why you're on this show. That's why you're talking to me. But I do get it. Like, I think that comes again with all the other points out of these 40.
Yeah,
because that all plays in. Because then you're sat there going, you know what? Like, I'm not good enough to share this knowledge. I'm not good enough to share this information. I'm not good enough to be here. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that afflicts a lot of people, and then they just don't end up sharing stuff. And you can see from the blog Rachel's written, she's got a lot to share, so she probably shouldn't feel sick about sharing in different domains, in different audiences, because it will obviously have a positive impact.
I also sometimes wonder, that people in school leadership make it sound so special and exotic, that, and this esoteric knowledge that they might have, and it's a bit like Rachel's blog is, there's nothing special about leading a school. I mean, if you've got a passion for education and an interest, you've got a modicum of organisation and you're good with people, then, we need lots of people to aspire to lead schools. And I think the message, everybody has strengths and highlights on there. For me, it's the modicum of organisation I need to move beyond. But it's important that we have a lot of people who acknowledge that they're never feeling good enough, but also understanding that a lot of people feel like that, and it doesn't mean to say you can't lead or you can't choose to remain in the classroom and do a great job.
Absolutely. This next one, John, is an interesting one, and I have strong views on this one, but I'll let you talk first on it. 35. Some of my year 11 grades weren't as good as they could and should have been. Any thoughts on that one?
When I read that, I thought, God, that must be hard to deal with. And most of my life is leading primary schools.
Yeah.
So look, I'd rather hear what you have to say on that, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, for me, a couple of years ago, I wrote an article for the TES, which the title of which was teachers should not be, I can't remember the precise wording, but teachers should not be held 100% accountable for the grades that the students in their classes get, and they shouldn't take ownership of that in the sense of saying my grades were this, my marks were this, my results were this, right? And I wrote an article. I did some research first, and basically the research I did, I looked at things like the Coleman Report, 1966. Where John Coleman did a study and found that something like 13% of student results could be attributed to teacher effect, essentially what the teacher does, and the rest was down to kind of environmental and hereditary factors. A mixture of them, but essentially that was the crux of it. And then there was other studies as well, like there was one in 2013 by King's College, like a study of twins, and they looked at a similar thing, and basically they found a similar result. I think it was like 9% or 20% or something along those lines, but it was always down below 20% for kind of like teacher effect, and then the rest was environmental hereditary. And I wrote this article, and it was very, very popular at the time. Lots of people read it, resonated with a lot of people. However, still, I can't post it enough. I mean, it was nearly 4 years ago that I wrote it, and I still can't post it enough because I'm still finding that culture of, it's almost like part of it is teachers, part of it, I don't want to be harsh on teachers here, but some of it is that teachers can't live with the idea that they can't change their students' exam results in a significant way, as in they want to take ownership of that, but they also don't want to. I think there is that temptation when it goes right to say, I did that, right? Because that then makes the teacher feel good. And you know what? They will have worked extremely hard with that class. So there is that thing of saying, you know what? I did that. My class got this. However, if this research is right, then that teacher may have added 10%, 15%, 20% to each student in that class's results. But equally, in another setting where maybe student attitudes are different or their starting points are different, that might not happen. So then it comes down to, well, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to say, my results weren't good enough. My results, and it's going to be crushing. So basically, I think acknowledging, I mean, maybe not in full, you could acknowledge it to a certain extent, but acknowledging that, you know what, actually, I don't think that it's all about, I think looking at this research, I need to be clear about what I control and what I don't. And yeah, that's essentially, and that was the article I wrote. And I still find this culture in the UK, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but in the UK, it's very prevalent.
Look, it's a complex area. I mean, by the time they get to that level of schooling, you're looking at a lot of cumulative stuff, and you've got to say, right, I as the teacher, we as the school have agency in changing this. But as you point out, Tom, it's a smaller element than we think. We have agency, but we don't have total control.
But it's not about, this is the thing though, this is what, because people were then saying, for me, that's about exam results only. It's not about making a difference. It's not about general making it. A teacher can make a huge emotional difference to someone and a huge difference in lots of different domains. This was purely looking at exam results. It was purely looking at educational outcomes. And that's where it said, 9%, 13%, 15%, whatever. Right? That was what it was saying in that domain. But then people said, well, does that mean we're not making a difference? No, we can make 100% difference to people's lives. It's just we're talking about educational outcomes in testing regimes. That's what the studies are about.
Yeah.
I finished my rant.
No, that's fine. Okay, enjoyed it.
Good. 36. I don't make as many positive phone calls home as I know I should. I join the club.
Yep.
37. I feel exhausted just thinking about another 25 years of teaching. 38. But I don't teach anywhere near a full timetable.
Look, reading Rachel, and I think there are, thousands of Rachels there. Rachel's presents as aspiring to do the best job she can, living a complex life, and sometimes we do need to focus a wee bit more and talk up a wee bit more about the joy of education, the joy of teaching, once again, all the time, it's going back to the thing. Look, we're doing our best, imperfect people that we are.
Yeah, exactly. We're on to the last few now. 39. If I call in sick, I'm causing other people more work. What would you say that? What would you say to that?
Yeah, John? It's totally true, but it's totally true, and that's the system. This is the funny system about schools, and it's schools in Australia, schools in New Zealand, schools everywhere, and it's just our system.
Absolutely. And but I think ultimately, if you're not well, you're not well. And
that's
one
true.
One of the best things that someone said to me actually ages ago was like, when you leave, after you leave a school, however great, however important you think you are to that community and that school, they're going to carry on once you've gone. I don't mean they're going to forget you, but they're going to carry on. Someone's going to replace you, and they're going to carry on. If you have a breakdown, and if you keep going in when you're sick, then, that's not going to change either way. So sometimes you just got to look after you. Like, that's it. Because a lot of these places, they're not going to, that you're replaceable. Everyone is replaceable. Everyone. And sometimes it's important to remember that, somebody else is going to follow you, at the end of the day. Anyway, 40, I'm not kinder to myself.
Certainly, you can tell that by the way Rachel has written the blog. And look, I suppose that's the overall message, that firstly, schools are about people. And, therefore, they're very messy places. And without being too religious, that, people are imperfect, flawed human beings working with other flawed human beings. We've got to, make our best efforts, but forgive ourselves for our imperfections and forgive others for that without dropping our standards.
Yeah.
But, I think it's important that Rachel has shared that, and that we all know that, the vast majority of us in the profession feel like that. And look, there are one or two, three super teachers. The people sometimes amaze me, and I think if they got more than 24 hours in their day, that what they can achieve. But most of us are doing our best effort with the resources we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough job, isn't it, John? That's the bottom line. And
Yeah,
it's easy to forget that, how
yeah,
tough it
but
is.
it's a lot. There's a lot of good things about it, especially school leadership. Tom, it's been a great career for me.
Absolutely. And I think that's the other thing, that by saying all of that we've said, it's almost like there is that guilt of being like, well, if I say this, I can't like be positive about the job. That's not true.
Yeah.
You can love teaching, and you can feel all of those things, and that's a fact. I mean, in the past, I've said things, and people have said, "Oh, like that's just negative thinking, or that's too negative, or that's not thinking positively, or teaching's an amazing job." But you can think both. You can think teaching's an amazing job, and you can think all of these things and want to improve them and want to change them.
Yeah, it's true.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure this morning. We've just about run out of time on the morning break. Thanks, everybody, for listening along. John, maybe some point you'll pop in again. And we can,
I'd love to, Tom.
We can share more conversation. But good luck with everything over in Australia, and keep in touch.
Yeah, tomorrow's the last day of term for us, so that's good.
Oh,
and
congratulations! Enjoy.
So 3 weeks break it is at this time of the year in the Northern Territory. You got to find a place in Australia where it's no danger of getting COVID, but I'm heading to South Australia.
That sounds good to me. Enjoy your summer, John, and I will talk to you again soon.
Lovely talking to you, Tom.
Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
And there goes John. Thank you very much to John for joining me on Teachers Talk Radio this morning. That's not all, because goodness me, we've got packed. We always have packed schedules on Teachers Talk Radio. Every day, there's just so much to look forward to. But if you are around later, we have Seb Ventura for the drive home at 4:00. We've got Genevieve Bent at 8:00 for the late show. We've got Amanda Wilson at 10:00 for the late show with special guest Kate Albridge on that one. Tomorrow, we've got Kate Jones on the breakfast show at 7 a.m. Top interview coming from Kate, so make sure you don't miss that one. We've got Charlotte Marshall on the Friday lunch, which is at 12 to 1:30, and then we've got the amazing Alfred Batch at 4 till 5:30 on the drive home tomorrow. Don't miss all of those shows on Teachers Talk Radio, and we will be back, and we will be live.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.